者どもをデッキへ上げろ。この恥さらしめが日本を裏切り陛下にあだなすとは。
Take it easy, Tack.
どうやって手に入れたんだこの異物を。
I'm sorry. I don't speak Japanese.
誰か答えられないのか。
The object in your hand? It's gonna bring you nothing but pain. Believe me, I know.
ネズミどもを海に叩き落とせ。
I am an envoy of the Emperor himself. I am no traitor!
I was close.
Yes, a little too close.
We must go now.
Hello everybody, my name is Randall Calrissian, and welcome back to part 2 of Black Ops 3 Zombies, and how it might not be as good as you remember. Where we left off in the last video, we ended on the map Drak, and talked about how it is many people's favorite map. It's actually considered one of the best maps in the entire game, although that intro cutscene is a little bit sus. But we did talk about the beauty of the map and the overall uniqueness of the map, and how it really sets it apart from other maps. It really is a fantastic map. That's why today we are going to start out with what many people consider to be one of the worst maps on the game, and personally is definitely my least favorite map on the entire game. That's right, the map we're starting off today is none other than the infamous Zetsubou No Shima. Roll the intro. Zetsubou No Shima is considered by many to be one of the worst maps in Black Ops 3 Zombies. Not particularly because it's a bad layout or anything, but because it has a very poor boss zombie. We'll get to that in a bit. And it's also just a tedious map all around. You genuinely have to spend thousands of points just to get on the power. And in order to get to some perk machines and some gobblegum machines, you have to cut away webs, which can take up precious time when there's zombies behind you or if you're facing the boss zombie. Now you might be saying, Rando, that's why you create crawlers. Yes, true, that is why you would create crawlers, but unfortunately in Zetsubou No Shima, the map is so big that when you're in one area, more zombies will just spawn, because unlike World at War maps, Black Ops 3 does not have a zombies cap, which is one of the biggest issues with this map, especially when you're trying to cut away webs. Zetsubou No Shima also particularly isn't the prettiest map ever. A map like Drak, or possibly even Revelations, which isn't particularly the best map on the game, but is a very beautiful map nonetheless. Drak in particular is a gorgeous map. It is beauty just surrounding it everywhere. To go from that to Zetsubou No Shima is almost jarring, where Drak has these soft blue tones with metallic gray and blacks and just these beautiful colors that mesh so well together. Zetsubou No Shima doesn't have that. Zetsubou No Shima is a very odd mix of blues and greens and even some yellows in some places. The whole map is aesthetically just weird to look at. it's not a particularly pretty map. It's actually kind of ugly. And also, the map looks the same no matter where you go. And it's very easy to get lost and forget where you are and where you need to go. There are two separate boss zombies on this map. One I'm going to go in much greater depth than the other, and one I'm going to briefly touch on. The first one is the Thrashers. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any gameplay footage of these because I genuinely suck at this map. I die very easily in a very early round, and really is never able to get to the Thrashers. But basically what the Thrashers are zombies that get eaten up and spitten out by a particular plant. They become a zombie infused with the island. I'm not really sure how to explain it. When you kill them, they explode and they create more Thrashers. They are very annoying and very tedious. And when the round ends, you might have some Thrashers still chasing you, which is very annoying and, again, very tedious. But believe it or not, they are not the worst boss zombie on this map. Yes, there is something worse. In case you haven't noticed by now, the themes of this map is spiders. Listen, if there ever was a way to explain to somebody, choose your monster carefully, this map would be it. Spiders are the most bizarre thing to put in a zombies map. They're not particularly scary, and they're not particularly hard to kill. They're just annoying. Extremely annoying. Like, they're not, ooh, a spider. It's more like, ugh. Really? Again? Spiders? And not to mention, because the spiders are pretty much the aesthetic of this map, you have to cut away webs on perk machines, the gobblegum machines, and different places that you want to get to. It's very annoying, it's very tedious. However, I want to be fair. I don't just want to be biased the entire time, because I understand that people love this game. Something I will give Zetsubou No Shima a compliment, if you will, is that it does not hold the player's hand in any way, shape, or form. It is a very challenging map for very hardcore zombie players. And I think this is why more hardcore zombie players, or people who can really get up there in those high rounds, enjoy this map. They consider it one of their favorites because they enjoy the challenge of it. Again, Zetsubou No Shima is a very, very difficult map. And I can understand the appeal of people who do want to have that challenge to get to higher rounds. However, this map particularly just isn't for me. With all that out of the way, let's get into our next map, Gorod Krovi. The best way to describe Gorod Krovi is conflicting. It's a good map, don't get me wrong, but it's strange. The spawn room is small, cramped, condensed, and honestly it gives this aesthetic as everything is going to be super claustrophobic here on out. But as you progress in the map, it becomes more and more open and extremely more chaotic. I mean, there's even freaking dragons in the map. Honestly, it feels like this map centers around Nikolai. Well, obviously it does, but what I mean by that is it seems like this is a map based on Nikolai's personality. Think about it. Nikolai is chaotic. He's unpredictable. He's bombastic. That's the same way this map is. It just feels like this map's personality is based off of Nikolai's personality. And that's really cool. That's an interesting concept for a map if it was consistent throughout the game. Think about it. Other than the giant being part of Richtofen's main facility, the giant really has nothing to do with Richtofen's personality. It's just the map where he originated. In the same way, Dreisendrach has nothing to do with Dempsey's personality. It's just the map that they find his body on. In the same way that Zetsubou No Shima has nothing to do with Takeya's personality. It's just the map that they happen to find the old version of him on. So why the change? Why all of a sudden make a map based around a certain character's personality? And it's not that it's a bad thing that the game does this, it's just an interesting change. Why all of a sudden do that? It just doesn't really make any sense to me. It doesn't mesh with the overarching tone of the game. Now, don't get me wrong, again, Gorod Krovi is not a bad map. It's actually actually a very good one, and aesthetically, it's quite pleasing. It honestly is. It's a very, very good and serviceable zombies map. And I don't know if it's a multiplayer map or not. And honestly, I don't really play multiplayer in Black Ops, so I'm not sure if it's part of the multiplayer fold. But it is a good zombies map, and it genuinely feels like an apocalypse took place here. There's broken buildings, there's fires in places, and I love that. I love the fact that it looks like people have lived here, people have died here. I love that so much. The map is gorgeous. It's open, but it's also cramped, condensed, chaotic, just like Nikolai. It's unpredictable like Nikolai, and that makes for a excellent zombies map. It truly does. I think that this map is honestly one of the best in the entire game. And not to mention, it's beautiful. It's really rich and vibrant. And unlike Zetsubou No Shima, this map does not look the same. Every area that you go has its own distinct color, its own distinct personality. You can tell where you are at all times and never get lost. It's just a good map all around. Although it is a little interesting that they chose now of all times to really base the personality off the map off the personality of the character that you're trying to find, but that's just a little nitpick. Also, I just want to bring up the zombies' eyes are red in this map. And I understand that it's now the Shadow Man controlling the zombies, not Samantha, and that's explained, I guess, in a prequel comic, but why the sudden change here without the explanation? I mean, I'm sure when Black Ops 3 came out, you weren't understanding why these zombies had red eyes on these maps. Because up until this point, it was understood that if the zombies had red eyes, they would be controlled by Brutus, or the Warden from Black Ops 2 and Mob of the Dead. But here, they just have red eyes when in every single other map, they've had yellow ones. It's just a weird change that didn't really need to happen. I get why they had red eyes on Revelations, but why this map? It's just, whatever. Anyways, with all that out of the way, let's get into the game's grand finale, Revelations.
Okay, let's recap a bit, shall we? This was meant to be a new start, really. A perfect world. Free from all the evil that had corrupted each and every corner of the known and unknown universe. It was going to be a place of safety for the kids, the little yous. You little... well, so far, so good. But things started to go wrong soon after you arrived. Now, I can understand your initial shock coming face to face with Maxis, especially after so long. But you did the right thing. You followed the plan. You brought the summoning key here, and you destroyed that bloody machine once and for all. Thing is, Maxis went and ballsed everything up.
Please, you must help me.
He heard voices, you see, calling to him.
Only together can we prevent the destruction of your world.
It wasn't really his fault. You know, he hasn't actually got his soul yet. All I got was a brain. Anyway, the key thing, as in the thing that is key, is that Maxis fiddled around with the summoning thingamajig and accidentally released an even bigger bastard. Someone even I didn't know was in there. The Shadow Man. The one and only original Harbinger of Doom. So, I'm going to be absolutely truthful with you. Things have got way too far out of control. This isn't any vague ooh evil. We're talking about the Apothecons. The most powerful and evil entities in all the existences that ever existed. And now they're here, in our perfect world. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. It's a fucking shit show.
Alright, let's get this over with. Honestly, what? Look. How did we go from literally one of the best cutscenes to genuinely one of the worst cutscenes? Revelations, considered by many, is a very, very underwhelming map. It's unoriginal, it's unfun, and it just feels like busy work, honestly. It's kind of a beautiful map, but the color palette and the tone of the map is kind of all over the place, and it just doesn't really mesh all that well. Ultimately, it's a very underwhelming experience. I remember when I downloaded Black Ops 3, and I played it for the very first time, the map that I wanted to get my hands on the most was Revelations. I was excited for this map. I wanted to play this map. I had seen all the YouTube shorts, I have seen everything on the map, and I wanted to experience it for myself. After all, Black Ops 3 is the golden era of zombies. Why wouldn't I want to get my hands on this map? It's the ultimate map. It's the grand finale. It wraps everything up into a tight bow, except it doesn't really. The beginning is confusing, the end is confusing, everything surrounding the map is confusing, and it's just... I don't even know. But hey, at least it has an original... Oh, never mind. Well, at least you don't go back to the origin... Oh, never mind. Yeah, well, see what I'm saying? Everything is reused in this map. Everything is reused. Origins is reused. Noctir and Toten is reused. I'm pretty sure you can go back to Verrucht once you get further along in the map. It just feels like an amalgamation of everything that came before it. And hey, again, that can work if done correctly, but Revelations was not done correctly. And I mentioned that intro cutscene. Honestly, that intro cutscene feels like something from a kid's show. It feels like something from Scooby-Doo, which is why I think they added Dr. Monty cursing at the end of that, because I think that they realized that it just was a very, I don't know, light-hearted, kind of silly cutscene. Also, let me just say this. The Shadow Man is the dumbest name I have ever heard in my entire life. I'm 28 years old. I'm not 10. I don't need the Shadow Man as a name for one of my villains. That is the stupidest name I have ever heard in my entire life. It genuinely sounds like a Scooby-Doo villain. Now, I get it. Treyarch Zombies is a little bit more silly. There's always been kind of this comedic factor to it. But it just doesn't feel mature in a way that zombies should feel mature. I don't know. I'm not a fan of this map. And honestly, look, I'm just not a fan of Black Ops 3 Zombies all around. Wait, stop. Hear me out. Just listen to me for a second. I don't think that this is the golden era that everyone says that it is. Think about it. You have a great map in Shadows of Evil. Then you have kind of a meh remaster in The Giant. Then you have a great map in Horizon Drag. Then you kind of have like a map in Zetsubou No Shima. It's kind of tedious and just not really all that pretty or good looking or nice or whatever. Then you have a really, really interesting map and a really, really innovative map in Gorod Krovi. And then you kind of just have a okay grand finale in Revelations. I don't think that this is the golden era that everyone makes it out to be. Is it a good game? Sure, I enjoy it. I like to play it from time to time, but I do not think that it's the definitive Zombies experience that everyone claims that it is. I don't think that it is the holy grail of all Zombies modes. Is it fine? Is it serviceable? Yes. Is it good to turn your brain off and play it for a little bit? Yes. But it's not the Zombies mode that everyone says that it is. Before I go, I'd like to go ahead and give 2 shoutouts, well actually 3 shoutouts. 2 of them are to comments, and one of them is actually to my brother. The first comment is from Victor Plays 2350. He said, "Love the video, man. Can't wait for part 2. Really, I did love Black Ops 3, but I do feel like some maps were not great. The video that they did really did mess up making the Giant a launch map, and using so much of the budget on making a cutscene for a remaster. I do feel like they were focusing really hard on multiplayer at launch of BO3, hence the mediocre cutscene, and honestly what feels like a rushed map in the Giant, or maybe I just could be overthinking it." The other comment is from Mystical Halos. He said, "I think Black Ops 3 Zombies deserves the love, but BO3 should not be put in such high regard. Campaign was painfully mediocre, and the multiplayer wasn't really fun. Zombies is the only true amazing thing in Black Ops 3. Both of those are interesting points. As you can see, one agrees with my side and one doesn't. And I honestly think this is why people hold Black Ops 3 in such high regard. Because of how mediocre both apparently multiplayer was, and definitely the campaign. I've played through the campaign, and it's bad. Trust me, it's bad. You're not missing anything by not playing it. It is painfully bad. It is aggressively bad. And I think this is why people hold Zombies in such a high regard, because of those 2 modes and how just dull they were. It's very clear in this game that Zombies was at the forefront. This is what got most of the budget. This was supposed to wrap up the Zombie series. But as we all know, history had something else in mind with Black Ops 4. Also, I'd like to give a special shout out to my little brother who also plays Zombies. We talked about this concept, and I talked about the fact that I'm not the biggest fan of Black Ops 3 Zombies. And he brought up a really interesting point. He said, "You don't like it because you're bad at it." And shit, he has a point. Listen, I suck at Black Ops 3 Zombies. I am not good at it, in case you couldn't tell by the footage in front of you. I'm really bad at Black Ops 3 Zombies. And honestly, it's easier to like something when you're good at it, and easier to dislike something when you're bad at it. So maybe I am being a little too harsh, but hey, again, this is all just my opinion. With all that out of the way, tell me what you think. Is this truly the golden era that everyone thinks that it is? Or is it just kind of a mediocre or okay at best Zombies experience? But honestly, at the end of the day, it's just my opinion. Your opinion is still valid, and if you still think that it's the best thing since sliced bread, you're allowed to think so. Thank you everyone so much for watching. I'm Rare Calrissian. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. God bless, and may the Force be with you. Peace. Oh man. So glad that's over with. Hopefully I never have to do anything that controversial ever again. Oh, you son of a...